Hey, everybody. This is Carolyn Freyer-Jones. We are here once again with our CFJ Coaching Success School live summer series. Hey, I am here with Mr. Johnny Roman. Johnny, it's so good to see you.
It's great to
And
be here.
yeah, it's so good to be with everybody. So we are live right now on Facebook and on LinkedIn. If you are seeing us, let us know in the comments. I know it's working. I have my phone here. I can see it, but give us a comment. Let us know you're here. We always want to know who's here with us. And while you're doing that, I am going to share a little bit about Mr. Johnny Roman, because some of you may know him and some of you may know me, and some of you may not know either of us. So my name is Carolyn Freyer-Jones, and I run the CFJ Coaching Success School, which is a school for coaches that is 100% dedicated to helping coaches learn how to create financial success through slowed down, meaningful conversation and service. Mr. Johnny Roman is here. He is not only the director of the school, he is a faculty member, and he is also someone who was in the CFJ Coaching Success School for 2 years, right, Johnny?
Yep. The
And
first 2 years of the school.
2 years of this first 2 years, he was willing to take a risk and do the first 2 years of the school. Very, very, I give you credit. And we have people. Oh, we got Farnaz. I see Paula, Roberta Williams, awesome. Sam, Paula, awesome. Mike, excellent. Excellent. We've got both. We have LinkedIn and Facebook working. This is a
Yeah, it's
miracle
awesome.
unto itself. I want to say something. We have our assistant director, Ashley Whitaker, running things behind the scenes. So thank you, Ashley. And I'm super excited to be with you today. And I know Johnny is. Today, we are going to be diving into your systems for financial success now with 37% less guessing, Johnny. 37% less guessing.
I love it. I need way less guessing in my life.
I know. The reason I came up with that title was because one of the questions I'm most often asked, and I think you are too, Johnny, when we talk to coaches, is what am I supposed to be doing with my day? If I have clients, when I'm not with clients, or if I don't have clients yet, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Do you get that a lot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the number one question for especially for new coaches, but even for coaches who have been doing this for a while. I mean, before I joined the school, I was doing it. I was, trying to have a coaching business for about 3 years, and I had no idea what to do.
Totally.
That question was very rampant.
Totally. Exactly. So we're going to do a dive into that today. And we're going to hear from you. We're going to have questions from you throughout, and you're going to get to ask us questions. I want to say hello to Amrita and Julie, Emily Bull. So good to have you. A bunch of people are joining. So this is fabulous.
Yeah.
So we have a different question to ask you first, though, because if you came to any of the lives last year, you might remember, or if you're brand new to the lives, you won't know. I have found that I'm a big fan. My fitness coach does these from time to time, and it's called Would You Rather questions, right? So there's Would You Rather questions. Some of you may have played those with family members. Some of you may have never played these. I think they're really fun and often horrible. So I came up with a really horrible one for us today. And you're going to tell us in the chat if you have an answer, or, oh my God, I can't even believe that's a Would You Rather question. So are you ready for Would You Rather? Would you rather know the date of your death or the cause of your death? Yay, it's so uplifting, right? Would you rather know the date of your death or the cause of your death? Join us in this lovely Would You Rather question. I got very clear very quickly. I don't really want to know either. I mean, I certainly don't want to know right now. What about you, Johnny?
Well, I mean, I think you have to choose one, Carolyn. Like that's the whole thing behind it. And I don't want to choose any of them. And I'd probably want to know the date. I'd probably want to know how much time I have.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I would not want that. I would want to know cause, because then maybe I could do something to see Sam's like cause. I definitely no date. I would have a lot of work to do internally if I knew the
I
date of my death. All right, Danuck's here. He's like, date. I'm impressed. Cause. We've got cause. Because it's more challenging, and that's the greater opportunity to make peace with fear. Nice, Josh. I like that very much. Cause. Oh, Roberta's like, no. See, she's like me. She's like, not choosing.
Unless the cause was you've died peacefully of old age, then
Oh,
I'd want to
Cassie's
know
got
that.
cause. Angela, date. This is kind of 50-50. These are like social science experiments. I'm fascinated. All right, people, I love it. So if you're joining us late, you can always go back and be like, I want to answer the would you rather question. If you're watching the recording, you can be like, you can still tell us in the comments, date or cause of death. Would you rather know your date of your death, cause of death? So welcome to the CFJ Coaching Success School, where we place a high priority on disturbing yet funny questions. And I think date, because if something I love that would be tough. Yeah, date, because cause was something, right? See? Welcome, people. Now, we are not by any stretch recommending that be a question you ask a potential client. Like, I don't know that I would use that in an enrollment conversation. I mean,
Probably
you
not.
could, but I'm not sure. That is not a success system for getting clients. Would you rather questions are not like in the coaching world of you should do those. And they're just for fun with us. So I just want to make sure you know that in case you're brand new and are like, hey, Carolyn Freyer-Jones and Johnny Roman were like, they said, would you rather questions are good to use. We're not saying that. And let's start talking about this world of what do I do with my day if I don't have clients at all, or if I only have one or two, or maybe, like you said, Johnny, when a more seasoned coach all of a sudden has a couple clients complete, right? Or all of a sudden, many of us, including me, have had all of a sudden been in a world where half our clients complete. And all of a sudden we have extra time. We know we need clients, but we're like, what do I do with myself? Right. And, maybe you can share. I'll share that for me early on, my answer to that question was sometimes useful and sometimes not. We are going to play a little fun game in a few minutes. It's not really a game. Johnny's going to teach a class, which I love. But my initial foray into what do I do with my day when I'm not like serving clients that I had, because my practice was small to start. When I went full time, I had like 2 or 3 paying clients. So I left my job at the University of Santa Monica. I had maybe 3 paying clients. Steve Chandler had said, I think you're ready. I went through the process of giving my notice. That's a different, very long, interesting story, but I won't share it here. And all of a sudden, I'm at home full time, excited to be wearing my pajamas and not having to physically go to an office. And lo and behold, guess what I was excited to do? I was excited to be at Trader Joe's at 10 in the morning. I was like, oh my God, people go to Trader Joe's at 10 a.m. This is amazing. Like, I thought I had hit the jackpot. Little did I know I wasn't really hitting the jackpot. I was hitting the time of day, which people who were entrepreneurs or out of work or retired were going to Trader Joe's. Now, was me going to Trader Joe's at 10 a.m. the best use of my time? Probably not. It was fun. It was super exciting initially, but it was like, is that the best use of my time? So what we're going to start to talk about today is what is the best use of your time? What actually gets results in the world of creating clients? So I'm going to talk a little bit, and then I'm going to have Johnny teach his special class. Now, one thing we're going to be doing, we're not going to show it to you yet, but we have a handout for you today that is all about what your daily enrollment operating system can look like. Now, do us a favor as I'm sharing, put in the chat if you're like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing every day, all day long. I got this, because we're going to want to hear from you, like in the chat. We're not going to make you come on live with us. Or you're like, yeah, I agree with you and Johnny. One of the questions I have often is like, what what am I supposed to do again when I'm in between clients and I need some clients, and what are the things? Because one of the things we're going to talk about today is your daily enrollment operating system is built by you. We're going to give you like these options. It's like a bunch of buckets, but ultimately it's built by you because everybody's really different, right? There's a bunch of coaches who are not with us today here because they're not on social media. They don't like social media. They don't want anything to do with social media. So one of their buckets is not going to be social media as a place to create clients. Now, can you create clients via social media? You absolutely can, but it's not in the way most people talk about it. Like, oh, make a great post every day. I mean, that can be useful, but that's not where clients are created. Clients are created through connection, through conversation, and through slow relationship building, right? That doesn't happen when we make a post and we run, right? When we just go, "Oh my God, I made it. Now I don't have to look at it because it's too uncomfortable. Bye." So this enrollment daily operating system is going to be built by you, and you're going to get to choose. The key is going to be choosing and then executing, right? Because no system is worth anything if we don't use it. If we don't use it. And that's where I'm going to say, hey, Ashley, put Johnny and I up because I want Johnny to talk a little bit about his early days and his special class that he could probably still officially teach. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if I were to teach a class on how to not create clients or grow a business, there are definite steps that I would take in order to not do that. And I was definitely good at many of these. Things that I would not do is, or that I would do in order to not build my business, I would stay home and not talk to anybody. I'd stay to myself. I wouldn't connect with anybody. I wouldn't have conversations with anybody. I wouldn't put myself out there in any way, whatever that looks like, right? I would just stay home and on my computer and kind of search the Google for clients. I'd probably ask, how do I get clients? So that is a very effective strategy. I have learned that it is very good at not building a business, at not creating clients, and for staying stuck. Other things that I do, sort of tied to that, like I wouldn't join any professional networking groups or programs. I wouldn't join the local chamber of commerce. I wouldn't go to events in my community. I wouldn't join classes or anything like that where people could be, where I would have to talk to them. That sounds miserable.
Yeah, that is, you teach a really good class on how to do things that will not create any connection or clients.
They won't. It's very effective, I'm telling you. I wouldn't get curious with people in my world. Like I wouldn't get curious about like what's going on in their world and asking them about, just updates on their life and challenges that they are experiencing or things like that. Also tied to that, I would wait until I'm 100% ready, where I feel 100% confidence in my skills, in my abilities, in my willingness to connect with people, where there's no level of discomfort whatsoever. That is definitely something that I would do.
Yeah, that's a good
also
one, Johnny. I wonder how many people here are like, oh, no, right. If I was going to teach a class on how not to get clients or do anything, I would wait till I'm 100% ready too. Ready, whatever that means, right?
Whatever ready means. Yeah. No, yeah. Whatever that feeling is where I'm like, oh, I 100% got this. And there is no possibility that anyone is going to think anything different than the 100% readiness that I feel.
Totally. All right. So now we want to start hearing from you, as Johnny's sharing. If you were going to teach a class on how to not do anything that would create clients in your day, what would you be doing? Right? I mean, one of mine would be like, oh, I'd go to the gym at like 1:00, right? Right. And I definitely wouldn't talk to anybody. I would be very intent in my own workout and I would not acknowledge another human being, right? I would go to the gym. I might go for a walk. Oh, I'd get a really good coffee. Like my class would have a really good coffee stop. But again, I would be like in my you shouldn't talk to me mode. I used to have that mode when USM was right near a Whole Foods, and I would go there. And remember, I was the head of admissions at USM. But when I walked into that Whole Foods, I was like, don't look at me, don't talk to me. God forbid someone from the program was in Whole Foods and was like, Carolyn, hi. I was like, no, because I had forgotten that connecting can happen anywhere, anywhere. And I was in a mode of like, I don't want to. That did not work for me. It did not serve me, right? So, oh, I like Farnaz's. Do you see what she wrote? She was teaching the class. She would spend lots of time on her phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Farnaz, what are we talking about? Like just scrolling social media? Are we reading like news and stressing ourselves out with the news? Or is it like I have a good friend who's like, their TikTok is curated to have only like cat videos and, like funny things. Oh, I love David's golf, reading, gym, grocery store, watch TV, drive around. Literally an endless list of possibilities that's called not getting into conversations.
Yeah.
David, your class would be really good. Only doing housekeeping and life admin tasks, doing chores. Chores. Oh, I like Fernandez. I forgot shopping on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, lots of cat videos.
Worrying about the perfect website and fussing over every detail, making sure that it's perfect.
Oh,
yeah.
That Sam, you've gone to the top of the class to teach that class. I love that. All right. So
another one that I was really good at is spending a lot of time, especially my working hours, on certification programs, on reading coaching books, doing coaching programs, things to build my coaching skills, and calling that work. That would be a really effective strategy for growing my skills and not my business.
That is a good one. And by the way, we have others. Amrita, watching what other coaches would do. I would spend all day watching videos by coaches. I like Emily Bowles a lot. Nordstrom or Target? Yes.
Very specific.
Lots of time reading books and articles on business building, right, Mike? Then sketching every new system on paper, doing mind maps, making lists of new people to reach out to at a new angle, and not talking to people. Oh my God, reading about coaching.
Yes, reading about coaching. Yeah, all that. Yeah.
Johnny could lead the class for sure. I am confirming this on, another certification. This program, like all in the name of. I remember though, Johnny, you had a great conversation with someone who was, with a coach, right? And they were like, I'm doing all these things. I'm taking these classes. I'm doing this certification. And you said this, and they were kind of shocked. You were like, but that's not in the bucket of business building.
Yeah. I think I asked them sort of to kind of divide up their time and assign percentages to how much time they were spending on different activities like having conversations, et cetera. And I want to say, if I'm remembering correctly, it was something like 60% of their time was on programs, reading books, things to, build their skills.
Yes.
And it was a big awareness for them that that was not business building activity.
Right. And I think that's a really important thing to slow down on. And I'm laughing that Roberta had eating. I love that. I love that eating's in there. I like Melody. I'd not tell a single person in my existing network and try to make a whole new network. In the meanwhile, watch Love Island UK.
Love Island UK.
Yeah. Love it. Exactly. You all are so good at this. So I think we've mastered it. I think all of us.
I think so.
But it's good to see, right? Like it's valuable. Checking my messages to see if someone finally sent me a referral. Exactly, Amrita, right? So the thing to notice about your class that you could teach on what would you do with your day if you're going to make it about not getting clients? It can be illuminating, right? And by the way, that game or exercise comes from Johnny and I learned it from our good friend Trevor Timbeck, who is a coach that I collaborate with, who's also a guest speaker at the CFJ Coaching Success School. And you can use that with a client. So rather than would you rather questions, and we're really committed. Johnny and I are like, we want you to be able to use what we do in the live immediately. So you could use with a client, teach a class on how not to get a raise. Tell me what your class would look like on how not to get a raise. Or tell me about your class on how to keep making your spouse wrong. Like what would your class look like on how to keep making your spouse wrong? And it'd be like, mine would be like, well, I wouldn't say anything when he leaves water all over the counter and doesn't mop it up after he brushes his teeth and does whatever he does with his face. I would just look at the water and judge him. Like that'd be the class I would lead. So you can do all sorts of teach the class stuff with your clients or prospective clients, right? They say they want this and you're like, well, what would the class look like of not doing that? And people love it because it's fun, but it's illuminating. It's like, oh, look at all the ways I'm keeping myself out of connecting, right? That's what we're talking about. Out of connecting, out of doing the work.
Out of conversations.
Out of conversations, out of even the awkward, sometimes uncomfortable, like sending an email, right? Like just hitting send on a connecting email. I talked with someone yesterday, a really great coach. And one of the things he said to me was, yeah, I need to get this thing out of the way. That's like, I feel like I'm worried about what people are going to think of me if I send an email about connecting. I need to get that out of the way. And I was like, you know what you could also do? Just do it while it's in the way. Like we could do it and still feel awkward and uncomfortable. Like it's that thing you said, Johnny. It's like, oh, I'm going to wait until I'm 100% ready to do this thing called send some emails, go to a meeting out in the world, go to a leadership event. I'm going to wait till I feel ready. That is the biggest smokescreen for coaches because there is no such thing, right? Yeah. I still go out into the world and feel uncomfortable from time to time. I do. Do you, Johnny?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
yeah, I find that the noise. Part of why I love today's conversation because we're talking about like also systems and the noise that can go on in my head around whatever that will take me off the court. Oh, you're not good enough, or oh, they don't like you, or oh, you're bothering them. All that noise, it can show up. Yes. And it can still be there. And one of the things I love about like this idea of like having a system is that we can act in spite of the noise.
That's right.
The noise doesn't need to be the determining factor as to whether or not we take action. The sort of commitment to my business, commitment to a system, et cetera, is the determining factor.
That's right. So do you want to share that story now, Johnny, that you had told me about?
Sure.
Yeah. And then after that, we're going to go through the handout.
Yeah. So, recently had a great example of kind of what kind of using a system to keep me in action looks like. I was in a 9-month program through the local chamber here in Duluth, Minnesota, where I live. And, I spent that time connecting. There were 50 leaders that were joining one day a month over the 9-month period to learn about what it takes to run a city and things along those lines. And so I was just connecting and interacting with people throughout that time, and then got connected with someone who was curious about bringing coaching into the nonprofit that he works for. And so I reached out to him. I said, let's have a conversation. He connected me with his boss, the executive director and the director of operations. And from there, part of the system is like, okay, let's get into conversation. So I set up a conversation with them, the two of them. Then I offered individual coaching sessions to each of them. And the director of operations was quick to jump on that. And the executive director was a little silent after my first attempt, email invitation. And then I sent a follow-up because that's part of my system. Part of my system is that, I'll usually follow up within 24 to 48 hours, etc. And so then I eventually got him on the calendar, had a conversation, a coaching session with him, sent him a proposal. He said he'll follow up with me the week of July 6th. Okay, I'll wait until July 6th because that's what he said. Part of my system also is taking them at their word and treating their word as valuable and gold. So the end of the week of July 6th shows up, no communication from him. And again, part of my system is I'll wait around 24 to 48 hours after the, timeline, deadline, whatever we had discussed, with a follow-up. So I did. I sent a follow-up, again, gentle, curious, etc. No response. So my system is to, after the first one, wait, maybe 3 to 4 days, something along those lines, and send another follow-up. So I sent a gentle nudge, didn't receive anything. Sometimes after that, I might complete after 2 follow-ups, but this one, I felt like I wanted to attempt one more email. I'll go for a third. That fits in my system. So I sent one more final follow-up, and I was really gentle, etc., and said, I don't want to bother you anymore. Like, this will be my last time reaching out, and totally fine if something's changed, all good. And again, gentle, no pressure, that kind of thing. No response. So now I'm like, okay, the noise had been building inside my mind. Like, oh, he's not responding. He doesn't want to work with me. Like, all of that was still there. And then after the second one, it got louder. And after the third, I was like, well, okay, this is a lost cause. The noise was still there. And part of my system is to stay in action. And are there any other opportunities out there? Can I just see is there more action to be explored with? And I had a good interaction with the director of operations. So I messaged her because we had kind of briefly talked about potentially working together, like if working with the team wasn't on the table. So I reached out and I said, hey, I never heard back from the executive director. Totally fine. I was neutral, no judgment at all, like, absolutely fine. And you and I had a great connection. Do you want to have a conversation as a follow-up about you and I working together potentially? And within an hour, the executive director had responded to me with an apology, with, hey, I'm sorry, we're short-staffed. I would like to move forward. Let's connect at the end of August and set up next steps. And so it was just this reminder for me of like the power of the following the system, and the system is what helped me move through the noise, the chatter. Because I don't know about you, one of my biggest challenges that I still work on and I've gotten significantly better at is that if I send out a communication and I get nothing in response, there's this dead space. All of my insecurities and insecure stories start to fill that space. Oh, they don't like me. Oh, I'm bothering them. Oh, I should just stop because it's going to get worse. They must hate me real bad. All that noise can start to fill in that space. And I've worked a lot on that and worked to rely more and move more of that over to the system that helps to keep me in action, and to not make assumptions or base my communication on insecure, fear-based assumptions, because it's happened to me now way more times than I can count, where I didn't get anything back, and I kept gently in action with them in some way, and it was oh, I'm really busy, or this came up, or I'm really sorry, and yes, I'd like to move forward, some version of that, or at least I'd like to stay in conversation. So that's been a system that's just like really helped me stay the course, little by little, gentle, not let judgment come in. That's part of the noise, working with all of that and staying with my system. It's been really helpful.
So I think it's really important to highlight a couple of things that Johnny shared, right? And then we're going to share the handout, and then we're going to take questions. So I want to make sure everyone heard this, right? So he had joined, it was a 9-month leadership Duluth program, right? That could anybody join that? Or was that like you had to have a business?
I don't know the exact criteria, but it's business owners, entrepreneurs, or employees of different local
Great.
businesses, nonprofits, etc.
So just know, for everyone out there, every chamber of commerce has stuff like this. It might not be exactly like that. It might not be 9 months, but every chamber of commerce does stuff like this. So Johnny did the first thing. Part of his system is, I'm going to join that and I'm going to go to the chamber of commerce meetings involved in that. So that's a system right there. And that is, you'll see it on the handout. One of the system opportunities, one of the actions is attend 1 to 2 in-person community events each week. Right. And Johnny joined something. He did it really, he was very wise, right? It was something that the same people would be at over and over.
Yeah.
Because
Which
if
was
you
really
join
helpful.
stuff, right, that they only meet once and you never see them again, much harder to build relationships. So Johnny joined this thing and then he started connecting and talking. And then someone expressed interest and they got into conversation. And Johnny's system was like, okay, I'm going to take the action. I'm going to send the email. I'm going to see if they want to talk, right? And then that person goes away, right? They disappear into the void called of their lives, busyness, whatever it is. And then Johnny, his system held it together for him, right? He still had the noise, he still had the thoughts, but his intention and his integrity to work his system stayed in place so that he didn't fall out of it. That's the number one, the beauty of a system. And I want to address what Kristen said. Kristen's like, well, what happens if you're uncomfortable? What happens if your energy is there? My experience, Kristen, is that if I'm following the system of following up, if I have some discomfort or awkwardness in here, as long as I'm professional in my communication and I'm warm, they're not necessarily going to feel my awkwardness, right? And look, Steve Chandler, he's can be a really awkward guy socially sometimes. That did not prevent him from having conversations, talking to people, even if you're someone who's a little shy or a little awkward. That we're human. We get to be real. Guess what? That's what distinguishes you from AI. Because AI is not awkward and AI has no bumps or like, ooh, I feel weird, right? We're humans. That is actually a plus, not a minus. So one thing I want to say about Johnny's right, it is right. Toma is a great system. What I was thinking, Johnny, as you were sharing, I was like, oh, when you kept talking about the noise that goes on right in our minds and then using the system, what Johnny is describing, if any of you either are on a GLP-1 or have done lots of reading on them, I like reading about like things that occur in the world and what happens. But one of the things that GLP-1s do, if you know about this, is it quiets food noise, right? That's why people who use them, who need them, it quiets the food noise, which is amazing, right? For some people, that is a huge game changer. A system for Johnny helped. It didn't eliminate it, but it quieted the noise. It brought it down to a level where he could say, no, 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 my next step is this. No, no, no. Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear you. No, I'm just going to do the thing. The system helped quiet the noise. Didn't eliminate it though. I want to be really clear with everyone, right? Like the guy yesterday who said to me, well, I got to get this stuff out of the way. I was like, no, you can just do it. The system will help you do it. So that was beautiful, Johnny. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And part of it is that Johnny has done this trial and error over and over, right? So he's stopped using his system when he let the noise get too loud, and then he's like, oh, got to get back to the system. He's learned time and again, the system is where the success is. It's just the system. It's just using it, right? So let's go to the handout, Ashley. Let's pull up the handout, and then we are so advanced here in our StreamYard CFJ Coaching Success Summer Series. I believe Ashley is going to be able to put it in the chat for you guys, the actual handout, and then you can have it.
Yeah, you'll have to highlight it and copy and then paste it into your browser because it doesn't hyperlink in the comment section.
Now, if you want the handout as a PDF, you can email myself or Johnny. We're going to give you our email addresses at the end. So don't feel like, oh, I have to do the cut and paste. You don't have to. We're going to walk through it now, and then you can actually get it from us via email. So don't worry. Ashley, if we can focus on the second page, I'm not going to take them through the first page. We'll share that. Excellent. All right. So we want to take you through what your daily enrollment operating system can look like. So remember, this is going to be like a choose your own adventure, right? We don't want you choosing stuff that you don't like or you know there's no way you're going to do. And here's the guideline, kind of like the would you rather question. Johnny, when I gave it to him, I was like, I don't want to do either of these. Johnny's like, you have to choose one. This isn't like you don't choose. I was like, okay. The same thing goes for your enrollment operating system. Not choosing anything is not an option. That's the deal, right? So it could look like reaching out to 5 to 10 people via text, direct message, or email. Following up with 5 previous conversations. That's what Johnny did, right? He stayed in the lane of I'm using my system to follow up. Inviting 2 people into a coaching conversation. Now I'm going to slow down here and I want to say a couple things about that first one. And then Johnny, if you take the next one, community, would that work for you? You'll talk about that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about reaching out to 5 to 10 people via text, DM, or email, right? So we're making an assumption here that you know 5 to 10 people somehow, some way. And you might not, and that's fine. And there's options if you don't. But let's just assume you know 5 to 10 people, right? This is in the realm of connecting, right? So I just did this yesterday. I had talked to someone, they did not become a client. The fees were not quite, they were a little out of their range. And I wrote to her yesterday and I was like, Rita, it's been a couple of weeks. How are you doing? How are you doing? Right? And I asked her a couple of other questions and that's all I did, right? Now, if I was in the game called, my calendar is pretty wide open. I want to bring 2 to 3 new clients into my practice. I would be doing that a lot more, right? So I'd be like, all right, who are people I've maybe worked with and they completed in the last 2 years that I haven't connected with in a while? That'd be one bucket of people I would look at. I might also look at, I recently went on a trip and I met a couple people and we exchanged emails. And some of them are like, I feel like one of them I might be able to help. I'm going to email them just to say hi, be like, hey, we met, in Maine. It was so great to connect. Tell me how being back at work is like for you, right? I would gently start to build connection. Do I know that's going to result in a client? I don't. So I am connecting for the sake of connecting with other human beings. Why? Because that's what I want to do as a human in the world, even if it feels awkward and weird. I'm going to be like, you know what? My job, not just as a professional coach, although that is our job, but my job as a human is to be willing to connect with humans out in the world. Maybe not as much as I would if I wasn't a coach, but nonetheless, given that AI is filtering our entire world, and I'm not saying that's bad and wrong, human connection matters. It really matters. When you look at the numbers of people using AI as a way to connect and have relationship, when you take one action and go, hey, Rita, how are you doing? That is a drop in the bucket of human connection. And I want to be part of that. So when I say reaching out to 5 to 10 people via text, DM, or email, I'm going to think about it. Who are 5 to 10 people? Did I go somewhere recently? My kid's school, right? Ashley has 2 young children. She might be thinking about their school if she was doing this. And what parents have I connected with? Who would I want to say hi to no matter what, whether or not I could help them? I don't know. The next one, following up on 5 previous conversations, right? So a lot of times, and someone just said this to me the other day, they were like, I had this conversation. I sometimes feel awkward, Kristen, about like after I've had a conversation. But Johnny gave such a great example of like, sometimes it's not the right time, right? So if it's been 2 months, I might reach out to someone and go, hey, Johnny, we talked 2 months ago. I know that, it wasn't the right time for you to talk more. And I'm so curious, how is it going with that chamber group that you're in? One question. So I want to be specific about this, right? A lot of times as coaches, we layer, we ask 7 questions and we stack them and it's too much for people, right? So we want to do like 1 question in an email, maybe 2, but not 4, not 5. Okay. And then the next one, inviting 2 people into a coaching conversation. Now that requires a couple things. Number one, that you feel like this is someone who I could do this with, and they don't feel like I've jumped the gun on them. And they're like, whoa, I don't know this person from Adam, and they're inviting me into a coaching conversation. That takes the thoughtfulness, nuance, and some of you know that the person is the right person to offer that to. I really trust coaches, and sometimes we invite too quickly, and that's something to learn. So this is one of the buckets that could be in your daily enrollment system every day. Every day. So I mean this, like 4 days a week, I might be reaching out to 5 to 10 people. 4 days a week, I might be following up on previous conversations. 4 days a week, I might be inviting 2 people into conversations. Now you may be sitting there going, is she kidding? What is she talking about? But that's what we're talking about to create a full coaching practice and where it begins. Where it begins. Johnny, do you want to talk about the next one?
Yeah. So, and I just want to add to that, like there could be other things, right? That it's not, those aren't the only 3. It's you can build your own operating system and sort of decide what it looks like for you. These are sort of examples to get you started in all of these areas. So for community, attending 1 or 2 in-person community events each week, something that meets regularly. That's what I did with this leadership Duluth program. It was 9 months. And there's all sorts of things out there. The Chamber of Commerce has things. It could also be social events. I know for you, you went to CrossFit, and a lot of clients came from your CrossFit class. Just like something where you're out there interacting with people consistently, and where you have opportunities to get to know them in different ways. So again, it could be networking groups or things like that. And you get, what is exciting to you? What's interesting to you? What I know, Tarita Preston, one of the faculty, she's great at this. She like joins a tennis club, or she'll go to like a wine and art night or something, she'll all sorts of, she loves that stuff and she's great at it. And so those are all examples of just getting out into the community in some form or fashion where you're interacting and engaging with people. That could also be virtual events. I mean, ideally it's in person. And if you have some virtual events, something that you're joining consistently and there's relationship building and connecting that can occur, it's not, it doesn't always, it's not always as easy, we might say, or there's more complications to it. And it's just some things that you can add for your ideas. Initiate 1 to 2 meaningful conversations with new people. Be curious and interested. Again, this can be inviting people into actual conversations, like connection conversations, where you're scheduling a coffee, for example, or a virtual coffee, or if you're out and about and you go at a coffee shop, if you can initiate a conversation, things like that. Again, what we talk about at the school is that all enrollment happens inside of a conversation. That's where all connection happens. That's where all awareness of new possibilities and opportunities, like that's the system.
Yep.
Really.
Johnny, can I add something? Because
Please.
I think your leadership Duluth is a good case study, because it was 9 months. How often did you go to that meeting?
Once a month.
Once a month. Mm-hmm. How long did you wait before you started doing any kind of connecting outside of that and saying, hey, I know when we put on the handout, just so everybody knows, when we say initiate 1 to 2 max meaningful conversations, we mean at those events. So Johnny's not trying to get to 10 people when he's at a leadership Duluth session. He's maybe connecting with 1 or 2 people in a real way. He's not trying to get to 10, right? It's like Sandy Sullivan, another faculty member, says when she goes someplace new, her max is 3 conversations that are actually real and have a little bit of depth. That's it. She's not trying to hit 6 people. She's not trying to go to multiples. She wants to have real connection, right? So Johnny, how long was it before you started to talk outside of that meeting and then start to say, people were like, yeah, I am kind of curious about coaching?
Well, to your first point, every time I went, my goal was just to connect and have at least 1 to 2 people that I could, take it a little bit, a layer deeper or something, have some kind of meaningful interaction where it was more than just a social nicety and things like that. And sometimes I was successful at that, and sometimes I wasn't, right? Sometimes I wasn't feeling it, and so felt a little more in my shell, we might say, and not as, wanting to connect. And that was sort of my intention. It wasn't until about like 6 months in, 7 months in, where I really started to be like, okay, there's an opportunity here, or I can see a potential opportunity here as well. Another thing I started exploring and experimenting with was we would have presenters come and present to us. And there were a few that I was like, oh, that would be really interesting. I'm going to invite them to a conversation. And so I started experimenting with that just a little bit. I think about 6 months in was
So I
around when
want
it started
everyone
to
to really
change.
hear that, right? 6 months of him going and just having conversations before he started to like, okay, I'm going to invite them into something. I'm going to take the conversation maybe outside of this meeting into like a call, right? Where we start to go a little further and maybe it's even a coaching conversation and from there, right? So I think
Can
that's
I
a
can
really,
I add something?
yeah.
So there was, I think, on the second month, I was having a conversation with someone, and I went to the invitation pretty much immediately, and it got awkward really fast.
Were they like, you're doing, did you get clear, like, this is too fast?
I got yeah. She didn't say anything. I just could tell that she started to like her body language. She was open at first, and then it started to shut down. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, there's some interesting data.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not to say, I mean, that's a really such a great example. It's not to say that if I went somewhere and it was the second meeting and we got into that, someone else might be more ready, but that's all
Totally,
intuitive. And in a way,
it's all
Johnny, that's
intuitive. Yeah.
it's such a great example of sometimes you have to go over the line to know you went over, right? Like this
Yes.
is part of the learning and experimenting. I want to take a moment and take Josh's question slash comment. One of my coaching stuff thoughts that comes up: what happens if I just end up talking to the same people over and over? I often find myself wondering, does that count? I text friends and family members and colleagues regularly, probably an average of about 5 per day. So, Josh, I love that you brought that up. And this is important. It sounds like your pool needs to get wider. So when I start to see that I'm in the same pool with the same people, that is an indicator that I need to take it out a step wider. I need to join something like what Johnny did, or Sam, who's here in the at the live. I think at one of the lives last year, one of the things I might have said to her, to everyone, is if your pool is getting like very like same people over and over, you could do a complimentary event, right? And you could do a live where new people come, and there's a lot of ways to deepen or broaden your pool. And it's really important that you do that as a coach, because just like everybody, we don't want to be swimming or fishing in the same pool over and over. It's chances are it's not going to be effective, right? Doesn't mean it's not lovely to connect with people. And we have a coach who's on faculty, Lisa Husseini, and she talked about this last year in the school, right, Johnny, where she said sometimes she'll just take on an exercise of acknowledging 5 people a day that she knows about something. Very genuine, very real. There's nothing else in the communication. It would be like me saying just to Ashley in a text, like, I want you to know one of the things I appreciate about you is, right? Or I acknowledge you is, and there's nothing else, right? And it might be about a post on social media, like, oh wow, Amrita, that post you made about what's happening with that client, that was so moving, and I just want to acknowledge you for that, period. right? So, Josh, it sounds like you might be in a place of it's time to broaden the pool, and some of these might help. So, we'll keep going, and you tell us, like, yeah, I'm willing to take one of these on as a new effort to meet new people, because that's part of our job.
Well, and to your point, Sam had posted earlier that she said, I thought my community was too small. And as I got experimental, I found I have more people in my world than I thought. Your suggestion in a previous live to do a free event helped her a lot, sort of
right.
expanding her awareness of who was in
Totally.
her pool.
Because sometimes we do that too. We're like, oh, it's too small. And then we do something. We're like, oh, wait a second. I have other communities that I haven't even really tapped into for various reasons, right? We make stories up like, oh, I knew them from this other job and, et cetera, right? Like, and it's like, wait a second, wait a second. Did they see you as credible? Did you have respect in that community? Then you might be someone, like, often it's someone who knows us is like, well, I trust them. Even though I didn't know them as a coach, I trust them given how I knew them over here, right? So, Johnny, do you want to talk about reconnecting with someone from your existing network? Have you ever done that?
Yeah, no, I just want to add to what you were just saying. When I first joined the school and I was hearing about this idea of community, and I was like, I don't really have community. Like, it felt very small. And then I remember you or Amber Chris said, if you were to like make a post on social media, anybody who likes your post is part of your community.
That's
And
right.
I remember that being like, oh, wow, like I hadn't even considered that at all. That like I'm not a big social media person, and I've been using it and from time to time, and I have gotten clients from posts and things like that. And so it was a helpful reminder that like there is a whole other community that I just didn't even have in my awareness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I
So I
think it's
found that
really
helpful.
important because we're now like in the next bucket. Like you led us into the next bucket, Johnny, which is the social media bucket. And that's only if you like it. But I do want to make a distinction here. You can use social media and not be someone who posts things, right? Like you could be like, you could use social media in a very different way. So if you look at the second item under social media, it says comment on 10 people's posts in real and genuine ways. So let's say I don't want to make a post. Like I don't have quote unquote content, whatever that means, right? I don't have a poem I want to post or a quote. I mean, I don't mean to sound judgy, but sometimes coaches can make very coachy posts that have been exhausted by 8 million coaches. So it's like, if you're someone who's like, I don't have content, I got nothing, Carolyn, go into your feed and see what other people are posting and comment on 10 people's posts in a real and meaningful way, or DM them and be like, Carolyn, I just want you to know how much that meant to me. I thought that was so wildly creative. I so acknowledge you. Now, what could happen then is someone responds and is like, oh my God, you liked that post? No, I haven't heard anything on it. And you go, absolutely. That post was so funny and creative. And then they go, thank you so much. And then I might say, what are you going to do another one? Like I might just ask one question, or what made you post that? One question. But that is a relationship that is now unfolding that you can nurture, right? And if they were like, I don't know, like I might make another post, I don't feel like it's doing anything. And I might say, you know what? I just want you to know if you ever want to have a conversation about this, because I don't agree with you, I think that post was really fabulous. We can get on a call and it's totally fine. I just want to make sure you know I think it's really worthwhile. Now, that might be an entry point. It might not. I might do nothing about talking in that exchange other than I just want you to know how amazing it was. And then I'm going to find another person to DM or to comment on, right? So these are ways, even if you don't want to be posting, you can utilize social media to connect, to acknowledge, and to build relationship. And I know people who do only that, and they do it very successfully, and it's in their daily enrollment operating system. Every day, they go on for 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and do this, right? And then the next day, they're back. They check their DMs. They might do another whole round, but that's a real system that you can put into your daily activities. So when you're like, what do I do? I don't know. If you're on social media, which you obviously are because you're here right now, that is something you can start to practice and experiment with. I want to just see what Amrita, thank you. This is so helpful. I had months and months of referrals coming up, and I did not need to do any outreach. And when the flow slowed down recently, I felt like a beginner. So what do I do now? Right. This conversation reminds me that there are things that I know how to do really well, and they work when I do them, and that my business can flourish even when I don't receive a rain of referrals. Thank you so much, Amrita, because most of us are not getting a rainfall of referrals. I do not get a rainfall of referrals. Somebody said to me the other day, they were like, "Oh, Steve Chandler's been your coach. He's sent you everybody." I'm like, "Steve Chandler?" I'm like, "Look, he's my coach. I love him. But he's not like throwing people at me. He never did that. He didn't do that with Michelle and I. He would send us people from time to time, but he's not like, and he's not Oprah. He's not like, here's a car and here's a car and here's a referral and here's a referral. You like having a coach can be part of your system. I want to say that it's not on the handout. Having a coach can be part of your system, right? Because your coach can help you. That's a system. When Johnny falls off the wagon, do you go to your coach, Johnny?
Oh yeah. That's 100%. That's been part of my system for a very long time.
Right.
Anything that any kind of block or hesitation or doubt or challenge or something like that.
Right.
Part of my system is yes, get in contact and communication with my coach as quickly as possible so that I can work through whatever it is and keep moving forward.
Right. And that's like a system we use in the school, right? So in the school, we have a private coaching page. And we always tell the coaches, man, you fall off the wagon on your enrollment, your daily enrollment operating system, get on that coaching page and say, I'm going dark. I've had 3 days of in the hole of my dark and disturbing. I'm not good enough. I don't know how. Nobody's going to like me. I'm awkward, etc. We're like, no, we want to minimize the downtime that you are out of your system. And that,
or this came up and I don't know how to handle it, and
totally,
all that stuff. Yeah.
Totally. Or you had a crash and burn. Like I had a situation in this last year where I had a situation that got super wobbly, super uncomfortable. It really rattled me. It was very uncomfortable. And I was like, wow, I'm really rattled. Like it made me feel insecure about just doing my job, sending an email. And I was like, oh my God, I'm totally rattled. And I went to Steve and I'm like, I'm really rattled about this. And he said, "Wait, you're a human. You'd have to be rattled. I'd be rattled if I had stuff like that go on. Of course you're rattled," right? It was so affirming that like, oh yeah, I get to be human. I'm rattled and I can get back out there and do my job, right? So we want to go to the next part of the handout, right? So we talked about social media, optional, and there are different ways to use it. Existing relationships. Connect, acknowledge, and be curious with friends, family, former coworkers, or former clients, right? So we've talked about that a little bit, but that can be part of your daily system called, hey, who have I not like just gotten curious with lately or acknowledged lately, right? Who have I not done that with, right? Steve's question to Michelle and I was always, who can I serve? Who can you serve today? Who can I help? Offer help somewhere, right? Like that's a beautiful thing. Like, sometimes, I like to offer help. It's certainly part of my own system. It's certainly part of my own spiritual practice. And sometimes offering help just makes me feel better, and that's great. But sometimes offering help leads to things, right? It's like help begets relationships, right? Like things happen. Someone's like, I can't coach with you, Carolyn, but wow, this person I know, they would really benefit from you. I'm going to send them your way, right? I can't do your school this year, Carolyn, but I know another coach who's totally ripe for it. Here, I'm going to connect you to. We don't really know. So I just want to put that out there. Like if you don't have a place where you're regularly helping out in the world or virtually or secretly helping a friend, I highly recommend it. Just if only you will feel better as a person. Now, I want to make sure, Johnny, that we pause. Emma, I'm glad this is so helpful. I also want, if you have questions, right? We are here with you until 12:15 Pacific. If you have questions, start putting them in the chat. We will stop and answer them. Okay, we just got one. Another one from Josh. Would you use one of these categories or multiple, i.e. the first three, reaching out to 5 to 10? Is that enough to build a thriving practice, or are we suggesting all of these things? What a great question, Josh. I am not suggesting all, and it could be. I am suggesting that you want to pick minimum 2 of these buckets. Do you have a point of view on that, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, start with like, is there something that calls to you more? Is there one that, if you look through the list, feels the most interesting, or there's a little bit of excitement, or just at least clarity that like that's a path that I could take, or something like that? And just this is more about experimenting and discovering what works for you and what you like to do. I don't do the social media bucket is not something I spend a lot of time in. And I like that it's there. I was, when I was reviewing it, I was like, oh yeah, those are all great ideas. And it's just helpful to know that that's there as an option. So definitely no requirement to do all of them, and experiment, see what uplifts your energy, see what is fun or exciting or interesting, or that you're just willing to get on the court with. And as an action step of, this is what I'm going to commit to. I'm going to commit to this bucket for the next 2 weeks, and just see what results I get, how it feels. Like just choose a bucket as a starting point and just commit to it for the next 2 weeks as the start of the experiment.
So, and I want to say something. I love that Johnny said that. And I'm going to put an and on that, Josh. And you asked a really specific question. Is that enough to build a thriving practice? If you did the first 3 and you did them 4 days a week, and you did them consistently. Now, I want to go back to the name of the handout. Success is just fancy consistency. That's all it is. Success comes from consistency. So the thing about this is, Josh, it's when you run an experiment, like Johnny said, you got to really run it, right? It can't be like, well, I did 1 or 2 and then, ooh, it didn't feel good. Chances are, if you have never done this stuff before, it's going to feel different, right? I don't want to put a word on it because it might feel exciting to you, because nervous and exciting can be very closely linked, or it might feel wildly uncomfortable, or it might feel awkward, or it might feel fun, right? I don't want to assume how you're going to feel. The key is consistency. A thriving practice does not get built with 1 or 2 drops in the bucket and then I'm out. Especially if I don't have anything, right? If I have no baseline yet in my business called I have no paying clients, or I only have 1, or I only have 2, then we need to increase your threshold in your enrollment operating system to how much you're doing daily. Now, it doesn't have to be all of them. You could be like, I'm going to go deep on the emailing and direct messaging people. I've got enough people in my world from prior jobs or other communities. I'm going to go deep on that one. 4 days a week, I'm going to be doing the first 3 items over and over again. I know people who have hundreds of people in their communities, right? Like people they worked with at big organizations. They have barely tapped their communities, people who have great regard for them and great respect, and they are not utilizing it. And they're letting one thing get in their way. Ooh, what will they think? And I just said, like, they're not going to think anything, and you're not going to have anything to think about if you don't do anything, right? Like that is probably, Johnny, would you agree? Like the number one thing that I hear, top 3 is like, ooh, what will they think if I start to reach out?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, right there, Emma's comment right there. I just texted 3 people I had exploration calls with. I've been putting it off being too salesy, right?
Mm.
The fear that they would think that you were being too
Yeah.
salesy, Emma. Yeah, it's so common.
It is common. And it's like we don't want to get into the land of what will they think of me, because we don't have we don't have dominion or any control other than if I'm warm and I'm friendly and I'm clear. I want to connect with people regardless of whether anyone ever becomes my client. What they think of me is none of my business, right? I'm okay with it, right? Because as Steve Chandler said to me once, are you willing to risk offending in the name of serving? And I am. I wasn't always, right? It's still sometimes I don't like it when someone uh, might perceive me as salesy, but I've done this for long enough that I'm like, this is a condition of the game. This is part of being a professional coach, right? It's like, am I willing to tolerate that someone might make something up about me? I am. Because as Steve Chandler once said at the University of Santa Monica, there are 8 billion plus people on the planet. There are plenty to go around. And there are so many people who will have no thought whatsoever when you reach out to them. They will just be like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to hear from Josh. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so glad Emma texted me. I'm just so glad she did, right? It's like most people are longing for connection, longing to be seen and acknowledged, right? So we're over here like, ooh, they might not like it. They might think something about me. And they're over there like, loneliness has gone up how much? Just research is showing that people 40 and above, there has been a much significant increase in loneliness than like for our parents or our grandparents, right? So that alone can be a driver in your willingness to reach out. Like, I want to be part of helping with the loneliness epidemic that is occurring out in the world. I want to be part of helping with people having real people to connect with versus choosing AI. And there's nothing wrong with AI. I'm just a fan of humans, right? I want humans to have humans to connect with. And that is coaching is the answer to that. This profession can be part of that answer. It really is from my point of view. So I want to just say that, like, we could spend all day long. Trust me, Johnny could probably fill 20 dumpsters with all the thoughts he had that used to get in his way. What do you think?
At least,
At least
probably 40.
40 dumpsters of thoughts that were not useful and not accurate, but they felt really real, right?
Yeah, and that's the noise even that was showing up in the past month when I was in this interaction. Like it's still there. It's just it's not as loud, and I don't listen to it as much. It doesn't stop me. I don't get off the court nearly as much, right? It is not the determining factor of whether or not I'm moving forward and taking action. I may slow down a little. I may question and get my coach's eyes on my communication or something along those lines, just to double check and make sure that I'm, aligned, and the message that I want to send is the message that will hopefully be received. And, so there's some, what I love about, what was so helpful in the school and also the coaching page is it helped me think about my language and like where adjustments that I could make, and different words that have different feelings or structures of sentences and whatnot. Like it can make a difference, and learning that was really valuable. So I have more confidence that I can deliver a warm invitation that's also in my leadership. And
Yes.
so that all that is helpful in terms of quieting the noise and things like that.
Yep. So I want to say to everybody, your job, if you do not have one yet, is to do what Johnny said. Start to develop your own enrollment operating system. Now, if you want to do 2 things as an experiment until next week when we're going to be back here again, that's a great way to do it, right? We're going to be doing another live next Tuesday, same time. It's going to be on a different topic. However, if you come to all of them, you can be like, hey, I did this one. Here's what's happening, right? You can use the lives as like your little container to try stuff out. And we encourage you to do that, right? Because we love to hear the next week. How did that go? So Josh, if you're willing, go for it, right? Because we'll be here next week and you can tell us. So it's really important. If you do not have a system, this is your cheat sheet. Get it, email us, print it out, and be like, okay, I'm going to do these two for the next week, 4 days a week. And I'm going to do exactly what they said in it, right? You can email us to get the handout. We will send it to you. I want to make sure we cover, do you see Barbara?
Yeah.
Do you want to read that one, Johnny?
Yeah, she said, it's happened many times that I reach out to people I've not seen, talked to in a long time for a Zoom to catch up. I go in with the mindset of let me get curious, catch up. And if the conversation goes in the way of coaching, great. If not, that's great too. Then the person asks, how can I help you? What's the goal of this Zoom? And it feels fake to say that I just wanted to catch up when I know that I did want to catch up, really was looking to see if I could support them with something.
Yeah. Well, Barbara, I love that I'm taking that as a question. And what I want to offer to you is like, look, when someone says to me, how can I help you? I'm going to be like, I don't need your help at all. Like, I'm here to connect because that's the truth, right? I'm here to connect. That's it. Like, if I'm really clear inside about that, I can say that with full integrity, right? I'm here to connect because we haven't talked in a while. I don't need any help though, at all. See, because I'm clear. I don't need anybody's help. Like because that's where someone could be picking up on if I'm not being genuine or I want something. See, it's like if I want something energy, sometimes people can feel that. And so I have to be really clear when I go into a connecting call, I'm being 100% curious. Yeah, no, this was great. No, I don't want anything at all. Right. What are you up to, Carolyn? Oh, I mean, I'm up to my coaching. That's what I do. I work with people all day long. And then I want to go right back to them. Tell me more about your kid. Like, what is happening with them? Are they in high school yet? Right? Like, I'm going to find something else to bring the conversation right back to them. So I want to be clear. Someone's like, well, how can I help you? I don't move into, well, if you know anybody, you could, I don't do any of that. Right? It's like, I am all good over here. So I hope that's helpful, Barbara, and you'll let us know if it is. I see Josh had a response. Do you want to take that one? And then Mr. Eric Woodard, Dr. Eric Woodard said something, a faculty member, but let's you do Josh.
Yeah, Josh, he said it's a great reframe, the loneliness. Also, the icky part is I'm not sure how to tell if I'm building connections well and inviting them when appropriate. I don't feel confident that what I'm doing is enough. I put pressure on myself to invite more and have more conversations. It stops being fun and I stop feeling helpful. That said, I can definitely do at least one item from the list each day, 7 days a week. Yeah, honestly, Josh, that's it. Like, one of the things that helped me was, can I take the pressure off myself? This sort of story that like the next thing I do needs to create a client. This conversation needs to result in a client. All that noise added pressure, which made it more challenging and more exhausting. And the more I could, so one of the ways I did that was I had part-time work early on that helped take the pressure off for myself, that I did not need, I didn't need to get a client because I had some other income coming in the beginning. And that was really helpful at taking that pressure off and helping to quiet that part of me. So I love that you're going to take at least one item from the list and experiment with it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Josh,
that's
give
the
it
name
a
of the
shot. And come next week, right? So one thing we want to say to you as we're heading towards the final, first of all, Dr. Eric Woodard, he's here. He is on faculty. He said, I literally just got off a call where I enrolled somebody using what I learned in the CFJ Coaching Success School, happened 10 minutes ago. So Eric was in the school, I think 4 years, if I'm accurate, before he came on faculty, right? And what we want to say to you is this. So get the handout. Start building your system. Practice in some of the buckets that we gave you. Another bucket that we didn't even put on here is some of you love to write. It might be like, I'm going to start writing an email once a week to the people I have email addresses for. That is absolutely a bucket you can have. We want to let you know We will be here next week on Tuesday at 11 a.m. for the next live. We will reveal what that live is going to be in the next few days. We like to see you and talk with you. And then Johnny and I talk and go, what do we think the next one should be? We also want to let you know that if any of you are here that are like, ooh, am I thinking about, or you've never known anything about the CFJ Coaching Success School, or you have and you've thought about it, Johnny and I are available. People are already on our calendar to do what we call like a business evaluation one-on-one with you. That just means we're finding out what you're up to, what are you wanting to have happen in your business, and might the school be able to help you? It might not. You may not be ready for it. That happens. But if you want to have one of those calls, there is a Calendly link that I believe was in today's email that we sent out. And I'm guessing Ashley's now jumping to go, where is our Calendly link? So we will let her get to it. There we go. Look at her. She did it. Nice work, Ashley. So that's an option, not a requirement. And most importantly, you all are fabulous. You had great questions. We love how much you participated in the Would You Rather. And get the handout at a minimum. Just email us, get the handout. You don't need to do anything else, and come to next week's live. So next week on Tuesday is the next live at 11 a.m. We will post about it. If you get my emails, I will be emailing about it, and you will hear more. So bravo to you, Johnny. Anything you want to say?
I just posted also the link in the Facebook comments and the LinkedIn comments. So those are an option. And we'll see you next week. Please come. It's going to be awesome.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.